games on me.
Today, as I said on Twitter, I'm going to be going over the project for games. If you haven't heard it already, go check it out. But yeah, I'm going to go through the project. But first, I wanted to start with where the whole project started. So we have this little sample that I made, which is where the whole tune began. And it sounds like this. Yeah, very, very addictive little loop there. Yeah, just pretty simple. It's got little roads. It started with this little chord sequence. And I think this is a free Forefront Roads. I think I still have that. Yeah, they changed. Forefront is this free little plugin maker. They're pretty cool. They make little electric piano patches. I think this is... Yeah, it sounds like I used this one. There's that little electric piano thing, and then I started adding some shakers. Yeah, I think I was just using this and one of my other shakers. Maybe this one. So yeah, just super cheap so far. And then Kontakt little bongos. And then I think this is the bass line. Yeah, I think these two Kontakt patches are just the stock ones. So this one would be I think it would be this one. Albeit with like a lot of and yeah, I think I added a lot of compression and other stuff to it to make it sound like a like a snappy jazz upright. And then I actually I did some scratch vocals. I was just like gibberishing Spanish. Let's hear what that sounds like. I don't even know what that's saying, but yeah, the game's almost sounded like that. So I took those vocals out and yeah, and some guitar. And yeah, all of this is recorded live except for all the Kontakt stuff, obviously. Yeah, and I needed some really sharp salsa piano for that. At this point, I didn't really have a plan for this tune. I was just trying to make like a little cool salsa loop because I was just really into salsa at the time. And yeah, finally added some horns. Yeah, I think these horns are Session horns with a lot of processing. One of these, when you hit the highest velocity, it creates a little swell. Makes it sound a little bit more natural. And as you can see, I've added loads of processing to this. Without all the processing, it sounds really plastic and digital. It would be alright, but I like it better sounding a little bit grainier, sounding like an older recording. Yeah. Yeah, so after that sample, a long time had passed, and I don't know, I had this sample laying around for like a year, and then eventually... Now, this mix is going to sound a little bit different from the final mix because I had to replace some plugins that I don't have anymore. Basically, I moved a computer, and then all the Waves plugins just stopped working. Like, I can't install them at all. Yeah, let's just have a listen. Yeah, so I just sampled that original project. I did a bounce that was just the drums, and I don't know if any of you noticed, but in the intro, this sound sort of creeps in really slowly. Yeah, so I don't know if you recognize that sound, but that's from Emotion Sickness, actually. So I took the same sound and put it in there. Oh yeah, and there's also this thing as well. So the whole inspiration for this intro came from this house tune that I've loved since I was like 13. And yeah, it has this instrument. What do you call that? I think it's called a guiro. I might be wrong. So I wanted to have that in the intro. Then these vocals come in. And these vocals actually come from this old project that I was working on ages ago. That there was another drum and bass track that had that vocal, and yeah, it just didn't really fit as much, and I just took the vocal out of that, put it in here, and it fit perfectly. I don't know if I had to pitch it up at all. Yeah, I might have had to pitch it up one step. So, I actually had to re-sing this sample myself. Originally it was a sample by Snow. I'll play the original track.
You've been playing games on me.
Yeah. So I tried to get it as close as possible to the original. I don't know if I did a good job.
You've been playing games on me.
But I think I matched it pretty closely. I'm pretty proud of that.
You've been playing games on me.
Okay. So yeah, let's get into the drop. Yeah, the drums in this are pretty important. These are all drums that I made myself. I think this one's available on in the Madzy drums actually. Yeah, get my pack on Splice if you want some of these drums. I know the snare is newer though. I guess the snare's in 2 layers. Got this one. What's this doing? It's just a little bit of a room wide layer. Yeah, it's adding just a tiny subtle amount of width and energy in the high end. Yeah, nowadays I would probably go back and tune it a little bit more. Just if I had one complaint about this whole mix is the snare has a little bit too much harshness in the high end, but it kind of hits where it's supposed to. It's doing its job. And yeah, we got these percussions elements, and as you can see, every single hit is triggering a side chain. So there's one for the percussion stuff, for the kick, and for the snare. The kick is slightly shorter than the snare. That's the kick, that's the snare for the other elements like bass and vocals and everything. So yeah, the percussion stuff. Yeah, it's just some breaks. I think this one is, I don't know where this breaks from, but yeah. Yeah, usually I try to make my own breaks, but for this track I needed that old like drum and bass feel, so I didn't want to try and make my own ones. But yeah, I just was going for that like old early thousands drum and bass kind of sound. Just some hi-hats and rides. Yeah, not too many layers. Just this and a crash, 4 layers, and then we have, I think the main meat of this track is this bass sound, which at first isn't as like pronounced. It's just so we can look inside this serum patch. It's pretty simple. Well, I say that. Yeah, it is pretty simple. Yeah, it's just some FM from B. Not even creating my own wavetable is one of the stock serum ones. Distortion bass dropper. I use that one a lot actually, because it has a really nice sizzle. And yeah, we have a flanger being controlled by, what is that being controlled by? Yeah, this LFO. Also keep in mind I've separated the sub from the high frequency bass sound. So the sub just sounds like this. You can hear there's a little bit of vibrato in it, and there's also, I think I added like some erosion or some kind of white noise thing to the top end because I don't know, I never like a really clean sub with just, you know, low end information. I like a tiny bit of sizzle. Yeah, so together, well, just this sounds like. Yeah, so I have most of the high end taken out. Lots of multi-band compression, ring modulation, distortion, transient shaping. Yeah, some weird stuff going on here. This one's just for frequency, shifting the middle frequencies. When you frequency shift something minutely and then play with the wet dry, you'll find it creates like a phaser effect. Essentially that's what a phaser is, taking the signal and phasing it a little bit from each other, and that's what frequency shifting it by a tiny amount does. And then and then it'll start like canceling each other out in weird ways. If I take this off, let me see if you can hear. It's actually creating like a phaser effect, but there's no phasers on it. And yeah, it's really cool because you can do it to just like the middle bands and leave the high end and low end alone. So yeah, there's this bass sound. And then after that, a more aggressive bass sound kicks in. Yeah, and there's a bunch of Waves plugins that I don't have anymore, so I'm just taking off the low end, the high end a little bit. I had to bounce these all, freeze these all, because at the time I was running on a much worse computer. Oh yeah, and this little bongo thing, which kind of ties it all together. Is this the thing I was thinking? Yeah. Yeah, just like in the background, I wanted to have like bottles falling, so I recorded some beer bottles. Actually, yeah, let me go back and show you a bit more how I process the sub. You can't really see too much because I freezed it, but yeah, just, wow. Yeah, I cut all the low end out, which I wouldn't normally do. Yeah, tried to remove some of the mids. But I think before I froze it, it was just a bit of erosion with maybe some ring modulation on the high end that was linked to the sub, so it like created kind of fake distortion, so you can hear. Yeah, even without like all this stuff on it, it still has that little buzz in it. So that was from probably a little bit of erosion and fake distortion. Just some EQing, a little bit of multi-band compression in the mids, leaving the sub alone. taking the volume down, limiting. Yeah, doing a lot of weird stuff that I wouldn't do nowadays. Usually with the sub, now I would try and like not EQ it as much, and this seems like a crude way of doing it to me now. But yeah, and yeah, I use fake distortion on the sub because I don't want too many harmonics to come through from the fundamental. I just want to preserve that original sound character, and but I want the sizzle from the distortion, so fake distortion is better for that in this case. Not always, but that's what I wanted for this one. And then there's this next section which has like an even more aggressive bass sound, so. Oh yeah, and then there's this drum roll. Yeah, and this is just one of my random sound designs. So I took like an Amen that I made myself. Amen break, if you don't know, is like one of the sort of quintessential drum and bass breaks of all time, if not the most. I mean, not just drum and bass, but yeah, one of the most quintessential breaks of all time, if you're new to producing. So I tried to recreate it with Superior Drummer. Then I resampled it and fucked around with it in Artillery, and just made this like half an hour long thing of just random drum roll stuff. So I just chopped that and sampled it. So yeah, then there's this more aggressive bass sound. And essentially it's the same as the other, this Serum patch, but just more so. It's like each 8 or 16 bar, however long this is, just gets a little bit more and more heavy, I guess is the word. So yeah. Yeah, this is another random piece of sound design. I don't know where this is from. There's this. Yeah, I wanted some like little percussive thing because all the bass sounds were really like round and squishy, so I needed some like really hard percussive bass sound to give it some contrast. What's this? Oh yeah, I had that little Cuica, is that what it's called? Yeah, I had that little Cuica come back in, but double time. And yeah, this was just another little random sound design thing as well that I froze and added delay to. So yeah, I was trying to emulate that. What's this? Little hey. Cool. So then the breakdown comes. Yeah, a lot of this is just a lot of random sound design stuff that I did. Like this. I think there's like pitch, yeah. Just took the whole thing and started pitching it up like a riser. And it sounded cool. Yeah, with just the original sample sort of filtering in. Yep. Just an EQ8. There's this one thing in the breakdown that I really like, which is this scraper, which I actually made in Serum. Yeah, I didn't actually have one of those scrapey things, so I needed to make one myself. Actually, I have the project for that little bit of sound design. I'll open it up so you can see. So yeah, if you open up, I just have this little cowbell sample over the top, but this yeah, so I tried to recreate that sound in Serum, and I did that by using the noise thing. So essentially it is like a sample, but it's like being repeated very quickly. So as I increase the pitch, the loop gets shorter and shorter because it gets repitched. So you can see the pitch knob slowly ascending. And then I have another little LFO on the pitch as well, because when you scrape whatever that instrument is, it sort of has a little pitch that goes up. So I needed to sort of recreate that. And then this just controls, this little filter, which, I played around with it until it sounded right, basically. And yeah, a little bit of processing in Serum, just some stuff to make it sound a little bit more saturated, I guess. And yeah, when it gets fast, it really sounds like a scrape. Oh yeah, and I added a little corpus as well to make it sound like it was coming from a membrane. Oh, and some bit crushing as well, and that is automated. I think without this, it doesn't sound as much. I think this is what's creating the crunchiness of it. So without, you can hear it. It just sounds like that repeating loop sample. But because this has this jitter knob, which sort of acts like Ableton's erosion in a way, you can create that sort of white noise effect with bit crushing. Super cool. So yeah, let's get back to the other project. And how do I stay organized with my sound design and projects? Well, I have everything in separate folders, first of all. So I have a I have a folder for all my projects, and then all my sound design is separated into like drums, synths, and stuff. But yeah, and then I'll usually save it with a pretty random name or number. with maybe one hint, so like I can search one term and then I'll know like roughly what to look for. But yeah, my file naming system is very unorganized pretty much, but I get by with it. Now this is the strange thing about this project. Here I've got this sort of loop before the drop. And you can hear, occasionally it'll sound like it's sort of doubling. Just did it there. There now, like, yeah, this is a weird glitch of this project, but it actually I kind of liked it in the final thing, so I left it in, and I think this is creating it. This is the One Waves plugin which is working for me right now. Yeah, super weird. If you can hear it in the final mix, it's really weird. I don't know why it's in there, but I kept it in because it kind of fits.
You've been playing games on me.
Yeah, second drop I wanted to have that note just extend out instead of doing the full bass line again. And it made it way more neurofunky. I don't know what it did, but it just kind of made it like a fucking hard roller. I don't know. Yeah, it's just a bunch of that same patch just copied over and played with, and I froze it out. Oh yeah, these little reverbs as well. Yeah, and it sounds a little bit different because I don't have this Shep 73 plugin anymore. Yeah, and then you have these long, drawn-out ones. Yeah, it's just more FM from B stuff, really not that technically complicated. So yeah, when it drops, I don't have anything except for the bass and vocals. I have everything color-coded in this project, so all my bass stuff is in this sort of bluish green color, all my vocals are in this green color, and then all the like melodic and synth stuff is in orange, and then yeah, effects are always in like gray or white for me. So that's how I can find my way around this project. So I can see when it drops there's nothing in orange going on. It's all just bass and a little bit of vocal. And then afterwards everything comes back in, and I want to, I want it to be less about the bass sound and more about the music. So here I don't think there's anything crazy going on in the bass. Yeah, there's only the sub going on in this little section here.
You've been playing
straight up poppin' bass, or as UKF called it, what was it, power liquid? I love that term. Power liquid. Yeah, and I took that original sample, did some stuff to it. Ooh, did a lot to it. Yeah, big crush, some modulation on a filter. Yeah, comb filter on the high end. I always like doing that. Oh, it's a random. There's a little bit of randomness in here. Controlling the comb filter. Yeah, it just makes it move a little bit more in a random way. This one I left alone, so when you layer them together, it creates some interest. Yeah, and I think afterwards I went back and I thought there wasn't enough piano, so I made another piano. Bring that scrape in during the drum. You can't really notice it as much when everything else is going on around it. Yep, and then I just wanted to go back into that hard section one more time. I feel like that section is like the payoff section with the neurofunk bass. Yeah, the second time around, the sound is so. Yeah, that was spot on. But yeah, it's not a vocal, it's just a little bit of sound design that I had to freeze. Yeah, and just played it out, and for the outro I wanted to have some kind of ethereal, like, zen thing. I don't know why. Yeah, and it's just loops and then pitches down slowly. And then over that I have some pads and stuff layered on top. Yeah, so the outro. Yep, just another one of my random sound design sessions. Yeah, the outro is so random, but there are these little clicks in there. I don't know if anyone noticed them. That's always bugged me. And I just didn't go back and fix it. So those clicks will always be in there forever. I think that's it. Unless I always miss something. So what did I miss this time? A little tambourine loop that I made. I believe that's in the Madzu drum pack that I made, so if you want that tambourine loop, you can go get it. Alright, well, thank you all. This is fun. So, yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye.
You've been playing